So good morning. This is Annalise Kugler from My Joy Body, acting as the Copper Dragon. So most of you guys know me as My Joy Body, but the Copper Dragon is something that's actually older than My Joy Body. It's one of my first businesses, the way that I came into the world, and it was doing potions and Wicca and craft and tarot. And so this has been a renaissance in me and finally getting back to it. And one of my biggest offerings is the Lunar trip, and it's a month-long tarot journey. And I've brought my friend Tess, who's been with me for the last 2 months, to come and have a little chat about it. So welcome, Tess. Thank you for coming along. Tess,
Hi.
hi. You've been such a wonderful participant in this. And I think the way that you reflect upon it, so honest. You kind of didn't know what you were getting in for, and I just threw you in the deep end, and you're swimming beautifully. So can you just tell me a little bit about, just your reflections on what you thought it was, what it actually is, and how you found it?
Yeah, definitely. Great. Yeah, so I'm pretty much complete novice with tarot when I started this journey with Annalise and the Lunar trip, and pretty close to zero knowledge really. But and I didn't really know what to expect, but I did think that, oh yeah, you get a tarot reading and somebody tells you about you. And what I've just soon discovered is that it's a total journey of self-discovery, and that it's through the cards and through the tarot as a conduit into kind of like more about myself and more about where I'm at, and it's been a real sort of study for me, which I've really enjoyed. So it's like I'm learning something that that's completely new, which is the tarot, but actually what I'm really learning is more about myself, and some of that is new too. So it's been really amazing, and a incredible deep dive journey into self development, I suppose.
Yeah I mean, that's what I love about having you in this journey, and your experience of it is that you've seen it sort of as, oh well, maybe it's just a tarot reading, which I just can't do that anymore. I just can't tell anybody anything about anything anymore. It's like, what you tell me, and then I'll see what your vocabulary is and what words you're using and what words you aren't using, and then maybe just inspire something. But this journey that we're on of being spiritual beings in a physical body, it's our journey. Only person that can see it, right, is us.
Yeah, and I have really seen that with like similar or the same card that's come up in a different spread or with a different person. And sure, some of the meanings are kind of definitely like sort of aligned, but they're all unique as well. So it all kind of relating back to my own personal life. What's the message that I need? What's the medicine for me is kind of like unique and individual. So that's pretty, that's all cool.
Yeah, and that's especially true for us, isn't it? Because you and I have both worked with the Nine of Pentacles. It keeps coming up for both of us in radically different ways, right? Because radically different people having looking at almost like the same thing, but through all of the different lenses of our conditioning or our culture or where we're even at on the journey. Yeah, it's quite cool. And I guess that's one of the other things that I was kind of interested in wondering is, so the difference about this is that it's a journey that we take together. So it's not just you, and it's not just you and me. There's a group of people with us, and so it's quite intimate. Like everyone sees everyone else's readings. Everyone opens up and reflects on their own readings, and sometimes on other people's readings. How have you found working in community with something so intimate?
Oh yeah, I have found it probably a little bit challenging in the beginning, but really come full circle, and I really appreciate it so much. And it's kind of like you know, I really sort of have to show up for myself, because I am sort of being witnessed somewhat. And I really love like looking into other people's spreads and sort of like, you know, listening to their stories and their life experiences. And then for me, like, because, you know, I sort of feel like I'm learning the cards, it's kind of like starting to see the relationships and the, you know, and how it all fits together. So it's sort of expanded my like understanding of tarot, and also given me a deeper kind of personal experience, really. So I mean, it's been lovely. I mean, just, you know, intimate group, quite small groups, but like some people I know, some people I don't know. And yeah, it's all been really valuable, and I've really loved it.
Yeah, I think that's really important, that point, that sometimes it feels really uncomfortable. You know, you're like, oh God, people are gonna see me. But then it's sort of like, well, for me personally, it's like, get to this point, it's like, well, I'm kind of on this journey of like taking off all of these clothes anyway. And like, I think that my nakedness, you know, that being that I am, that's underneath all of this shit, is actually so much more luminous, that I'd rather be seen naked and vulnerable and magnificent than kind of, you know, with all of these sort of half draped concepts that society's kind of slapped all over me. You know, that's my analogy, my metaphor of it, really.
Yeah, and I feel the same. It's like, it's sort of, it's probably a challenge of mine personally anyway, to be a bit more vulnerable, like to be able to be a bit more in that space. So it's really fitted in well with me stepping more into my power and feeling more of who I truly am, and letting that be seen.
Yeah, that's great. And I think so just from reflection, and I'm not, you know, I'm not 100% sure if you would say that this, but for me, I think, so is this your third one through, or your second one through?
Third. Yeah, third.
I kind of got this feeling that in the first two, everything was like really sweet and like, yeah, my life is choice. And, you know, like, and then the third one kind of came in and it was a little bit more uncomfortable. Would you say that?
Yes, I've actually got my third spread in front of me right now, and like I've been, you know, sort of, because we're right at the end of this month at the moment, so I'm kind of looking back on it now and going like, oh, it's been a really kind of bumpy ride this last sort of 4 weeks, and I can see that in my cards, but there's ups and downs and all arounds. And yeah, so and yeah, that's right, off the back of like kind of like a quite a high sort of feeling from the previous spread. So so yeah, it's always different. I'm super excited to see next month. Like I'll probably see it tomorrow or the next day, and it's like, it's just like, and who knows what it's gonna bring.
I know, I feel the same. I'm just like, oh, I've got all of these calls today, but all I want to do is see what my spread is and see what everyone else is. You know, because there is this kind of reoccurring symbology that happens, you know, and that's sort of like life, isn't it? We're kind of moving through with the similar threads, you know. My threads that I'm working with are the threads that I'm working with, and it's beautiful to see how they kind of reflected back each month, and you know, they sort of take a different turn and a different weft and weave. Yeah, it's quite exciting. And I think so just one other thing is the archetype. So we work with archetypes, and I wonder how that's been for you, working with archetypes.
Amazing. I mean, I haven't worked with archetypes before ever. And so when I first was even trying to figure out an archetype, I was just really in the sort of Jungian sort of thinking of like maid or mother or anyway. And I've really expanded my understanding of the archetypes, and really journeyed with some pretty interesting and, you know, yeah, different sort of mythologies and animals, and like, it's just so, it's so interesting, and really, it's yeah, it's been a real new experience for me. And I've really, yeah, it's been cool.
Yeah, it's quite it's because the way that we do it, for those of you that are watching, is we don't just necessarily go, I want to be this, you know. It's just sort of there's this kind of brewing process that comes to us, I think, you know. And it's this sort of like, for me, the archetypes have kind of revealed themselves to me. You know, like I was never expecting to be the beggar at the town gates, ever. Like that wouldn't have been anything that crossed my mind. But doing this work, diving in so deeply with the tarot and that honest reflection of what, you know, was really true for me inside, this archetype presented itself. And I think, you know, when you came forward with the Lioness this time, it was like, wow, you know, you're the first person I know to really bring a whole animal as an archetype to embody. And it feels so it all feels really primal, and it almost feels to me like something very natural, like almost like it's something that is a cultural norm that we've forgotten. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like putting on the mantle of the lion feels like it's something that we've done for thousands of years, but just stopped the other day and forgot all about it, you know. Like it feels to me like an amnesia that's happened culturally. And when you brought that archetype forth, there was sort of this sort of like shuddering and awakening in me. It was, you know, like, was quite profound, actually.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that. I've been doing that each day, like putting on my kind of lion head, and in my mind's eye, like I see the whole head of the lion, and then I really feel into that space. And what I love about the archetypes is that, like, is it something that, like, we aspire to, but it's also something that is kind of maybe challenges us to push into something that we may not necessarily feel like we're like, oh no, I couldn't be that because I'm not whatever. And it's sort of, so we not just aspire to it, but we actually push beyond that to kind of like actually challenge ourselves to feel something that we, you know, we don't yet feel. And that's you know, that's when the Lioness sort of came in for me, because I really wanted to be that strong in my kind of mother love that was so just like all it is primal, it's all just protection. And you know, it's, you know, it's sort of like, there's not kind of like, oh, I need to go to the supermarket today. You know, like it's just what we innately do when we raise our young. Yeah, I think that's how that came up.
Yeah, so beautiful. And I think, yeah, the aspirational quality. And also for me, it was like, you know, I didn't want to inhabit like that, the sort of the lower archetypes that have come up. They're really, for me, that was really fucking uncomfortable. I didn't want to inhabit that. I did not want to inhabit that. But that was part of me, you know, an actual genuine part of me that I was avoiding. And so, you know, and the other thing that's kind of cool about the aspirational, and I think that we've seen this, I don't know if you'd agree with me, let me know, but that aspirational quality of some archetypes flushes out other stuff. Do you think that you've seen that?
Yeah, yes, yeah, definitely. That's right. The place where it actually does feel uncomfortable and like, oh, I couldn't live up to that, or I don't have that in me, or I'm not good enough, or blah blah blah. Yeah,
it's like a spotlight. It sort of like shines down on you, and you're like, okay, I'm going to be the queen. But that bit's not a queen, and that, you know, and it's like, okay, I'm seeing myself. Yeah. So it's so fascinating, and I felt that in the last call that we had, you know, working with the witch is so easy. And then it just had this idea. It was like, well, you haven't worked with the queen yet. And I was like, ooh, the only queen that I've worked with was the queen, shamed queen walking through the street. And I didn't even work with her very very deeply. She was just part of a narrative, an archetypal narrative. And yeah, the idea of working with the Queen actually is really uncomfortable for me. So it's like, okay, there's something there, you know. Maybe I'll put that crown on and see what happens. You know, see what it flashes out.
Can't wait.
That's why
I
they
haven't
call this.
worked with a queen yet either.
No,
Not yet. We'll see what happens.
See what happens. It's quite exciting. Mind you, the Lioness is kind of the queen, right?
Yeah.
Queen of the jungle. Beautiful. Tess, well, thank you. Thanks for talking to me about this, and I've really enjoyed this chat, but I've also really enjoyed, you know, working with you, and yeah, can't wait to pull your cards for the next one. We're going into Virgo, which is going to be very interesting because there's a very, you know, Virgo is that very pure aspect of the zodiac. So God, you know, that pure light can be quite interesting to step into, I think.
And can I just share, another one of our co-trippers said, I think I'll just be doing this for the rest of my life. And I honestly originally intended to just come in for 1 month, and now I've done 3 consecutive months, and now I can't see why I wouldn't just do every month as well. Like, it's kind of just, it's such a beautiful thing to have in my life. I just love it.
Yeah, well,
what you, Annalise?
Oh, you're welcome. But what what excites me about that is that you know, this Leo trip that we've just done, it was so obvious, you know. It was like, yeah, light, we were with the Leo energy, and all the stuff came up. It's like, I can't wait to kind of see what that's going to be like next year, because I know that there's going to be similar cosmic forces working on me. I know that I'm doing the work. What's it going to look like in a year's time? And and that's, you know, that's a really cool point. And part of why I did this is because I want to align myself with the seasons, and I want to be kind of in a more super conscious, a more nature conscious, be a more super conscious, nature conscious being that is in line seasonally with the stars and with the planet. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see it when it does bigger cycles. You know, we're in the lunar cycles, but it's going to be interesting when it's, you know, like a full zodiac cycle. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Tess, and we will see you soon.
All right, thanks a lot. Bye.